Iran is not the only war the United States seems to be carrying out in a propaganda, incompetent, and illegal fashion. Operation Southern Spear is continuing. Trump and Hegseth had claimed that the military struck a cartel compound in Ecuador, and it turns out, according to an investigation from the New York Times, it was a dairy farm. Plus, 157 people have now been killed by strikes in alleged cartel boats in the Caribbean. And the Department of Justice has opened up a criminal investigation into Trump critic, the President of Colombia. My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Let's get into this. Now, first, in terms of the military strike in Ecuador. So the PR spokesperson for the Pentagon, Sharon Pinnell, had posted this video saying that the U.S. executed a military strike in Ecuador, and they had done this against the cartel members, and it was a success. Pete Hegseth then reposted it, and Trump reiterated it. Well, according to the New York Times, this was instead a dairy farm, and they interviewed the man who had bought this farm years ago with his savings and was devastated instead by what is now the remains of his animals. Now, according to the New York Times, the United States didn't even execute the military strike, and Ecuador had put out a statement saying that they executed the strike based on intelligence given to them by the United States. An embarrassment, incompetency on the national stage. Take a look at this video. They tried this music with it, this video game montage to try to say how tough we are. Hegseth tries to say it all the time. Trump tries to say it all the time. But instead, here we gave faulty intelligence about this farm and then took credit, didn't even actually execute the strikes, but told the American people we did. Propaganda on a level usually reserved for Russia. Take a look at the video. According to the New York Times, a man named Miguel bought the property 6 years ago for $50,000. He evidently fought back tears, telling the newspaper that all that had existed on that property was 2 wooden shelters, an outpost to make cheese, and sheds for his equipment. Now, the New York Times points out the fact that usually if Ecuador goes and seizes cartel property, such as guns, weapons, drugs, they release the photographs of it. But no photographs were released this time. Instead, the New York Times has photographic evidence of dead animals and animals that survived this attack. Hegseth keeps talking about, Trump keeps talking about the best military in the world. Well, we managed to bomb a dairy farm. Despite this incompetence, according to Joseph Humare, Assistant Secretary under the Department of War, seems like the United States is planning on expanding its military in this southern hemisphere, this other war with no legal basis, with no endgame, and seems no actual competency involved. He testified to Congress that the United States would not rule out unilateral strikes within South American countries. That means strikes without their permission and perhaps even ground excursions. Well, we already have 15,000 troops stationed in the Caribbean. That number has been drawn down because Trump started yet another war in Iran, but we still have thousands of troops there. And it's still millions of dollars a day being spent on the military presence in the Caribbean without congressional approval, without, again, any evidence being presented that the people they are striking are even cartel members. Now, he testified to Congress there, Humeri, that the number of crossings by water has decreased, but he couldn't say whether or not crossings by land have increased. All of that money, all of that troops, all of the fact that Congress hasn't approved it, and they can't even prove that this is even working. Now, on top of that, families have sued in federal court, made claims to the UN saying that what we are doing is illegal and asking for relief, saying that their family members who were killed were not cartel members. And they were, and you wonder, after seeing the bombing, the dairy farm bombing, and never being presented evidence, no evidence being presented to the public that there's even cartel members on that boat. But we still continue to bomb those boats. 157 people to date have died as those results. Those strikes are continuing, but being missed in the headline because of our other strikes in the Middle East. Now, President Gustavo Petro of Colombia has been quite vocal of his criticism of what Trump is doing, what Hegseth is doing, the arrest of Maduro, the bombing of the cartel boats. He's actually asked for other South American countries to stand up against the United States for this. So it comes as no surprise that Trump seems to be weaponizing the DOJ against him. The Department of Justice has evidently opened up 2 criminal investigations into him out of Manhattan and Brooklyn. And the criminal investigation has to do with one, apparently he had met with cartel narcotic leaders, and the other one, they are saying that he had narcotic money involved with his campaign. That in itself is almost laughable, considering how corrupt Trump is. His campaign money, if you remember, that he took that money that people gave him and then used it for his public defense, and he was still convicted of 34 counts of fraud. All of the money that he and his sons are making off of the presidency, over billions of dollars. But he has the audacity under his DOJ to question whether or not the president of Colombia used narcotic money as campaign, like as if they care about campaign finance laws or where the money in campaigns go or come from. Laughable, but not surprising. We have, of course, seen Trump's DOJ go after his critics over and over again in just this short year alone. This disturbing report that the U.S. apparently gave bad intelligence about this dairy farm comes at the same time as the reports that Trump is such a child that the war against Iran is being shown to him in a video montage because he is an unserious and extremely dangerous person who apparently can't actually get real briefings and be told actually what's happening with the war. Instead, he has to have this curated video game type montage that makes us look like we're winning and is entertaining enough to keep his attention despite his dementia. Not surprising considering how wrong the Pentagon was about this strike, but lying to the American people. Did they lie purposely, or are they just that incompetent they didn't even know they were lying? Either way, they are using our military across the world in an unlawful and incompetent way. And these are our American taxpayers being used. Be sure to subscribe to the MeidasTouch channel if you haven't already. Find the Mistrial podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to check out the Mistrial sponsors. So grateful for their sponsorship right now because they do not censor what I have to say.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.